My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. UFC Vegas 30 Gane versus Volkov is tomorrow night. Actually, tomorrow during the day. It starts stupid early. It is like a noon card. So we wanted to film early and get this out early. So there was plenty of time for you to watch the video, do your research, and get something in that makes sense. So let me walk through my final lineup for DraftKings. Nobody missed weight. We had no drops. I'm not trying to jinx it. So my lineup did not change, but let me walk through it anyway. I have Tim Means over Dalby. Some people are going to say, oh, this is a short notice fight, but it's not. Tim Means is supposed to fight last week. Dalby's opponent dropped, so they just put them together. They're both in shape. They're both ready to go. Tim Means just moved a week. This isn't a short notice fight. He should be in shape. Once you factor the fact, once you realize, okay, they're both in shape, I think Tim Means has more ways to win. I think he's a little bit of the better wrestler. He's definitely the better striker. Dalby has more power, but I think Tim's volume and activity will get it done. Then I have Renato Moicano over Herbert. I think he's the biggest favorite on the entire card, and he should be. He can win anywhere. His jiu-jitsu is unbelievable. His striking is very technical. He doesn't really have that one-punch knockout power, but his jiu-jitsu is so phenomenal. I think he's going to go back to his roots, get the takedown, get a submission to make that happen. Then I have Kennedy Nzechukwu over Marquez. We've seen Nzechukwu defend a ton of takedowns in the past. We've seen him survive, sort of one-sided striking beatings to then come back and get a wild knockout. He's definitely the better striker here. He definitely can defend Danilo Marquez's takedown attempts. So I think he defends some takedown attempts and then pours it on late and gets himself a knockout. So I have Nzechukwu over Marquez. Nzechukwu over Marquez. And $8,200, that's solid value. Even if you disagree and you're on the other side of it, pick the other side because that's solid value there. Then I have Rakhmonov over Prazeres. Rakhmonov is honestly, he might be the most complete fighter on this entire fight card. He's phenomenal everywhere. He can beat you anywhere he wants to. So that was a no-brainer for me. I've got two 9,000 plus fighters in my lineup. So I needed a cheap fighter, and I have Timur Valiev. I think Timur Valiev's wrestling will be the difference between him and Barcelos. Barcelos is very good. Dan, you've mentioned it before, and you spent a little time with him, right? Because he was training with Glover.
Yep.
So he is good everywhere. I just think the wrestling of Valiev will at least be able to smother a round or two of Barcelos, and he can get out a win or at least score me a bunch of points with all those takedowns. But I do think he genuinely wins, and I put a money line bet on him to do so. And then I have Volkov in the main event. A lot of people are high on Volkov, and I totally understand why. He's got very good striking. He's very long. He uses it appropriately, and he's very durable. So, yeah, he got knocked out by Derek Lewis, but it's freaking Derek Lewis. I would argue Derek Lewis
winning that fight. So.
Yeah, he was dominating that fight and then got caught at the end. So, I think Gane is a better striker than Derek Lewis, but he doesn't hit nearly as hard as Derek Lewis. And Alexander Volkov was dominating Derek Lewis. So not to make it about him, but I do think Volkov wins this fight. And $7,500 is a great value because it's definitely going to go 5 rounds, and it should be a pretty action-packed fight. So no Jacob, but let's just go through his lineup very, very quickly. Dan, jump in when you want. He's got Andre Fili. I think we both agree Andre Fili is a solid pick there. Pineda's always live for a knockout because of his fight style, but if he doesn't get it, he gasses, and Fili should get himself a stoppage. Jacob's on the opposite side of us. He went with Gane in the main event. He is like very high on Gane. Loves his footwork, his fight style, and he's absolutely positive that Gane will win that fight. We obviously disagree. Yancy Medeiros is his lock of the week. So he's got Yancy in his lineup. He also has Nzechukwu, Rakhmonov, and Valiev for all the reasons that I mentioned. Danny boy, why don't you walk through your lineup?
Sure. So I actually pulled back. I had Volkov in my lineup earlier in the week. I pulled back on that, partially just because me and you had 4 or 6, and I'll let you have your pick this week, all right? Because I get it. You won last week. You've been talking about it. You're doing so well lately. So listen, you have first right of refusal on Volkov. I'll switch mine up. So I have nobody in the main event this card. We'll see how it pans out. First up, I got Justin James. Talked about it earlier. I think he's going to catch Rosa at some point. I think he's got an aggressive style, and Rosa's defense, striking wise, has been challenging lately. And I don't know that the wrestling of Rosa is going to be able to get it done. He says he's switched his camps and now he's working on wrestling. So we'll see how that fares for him. But I think Justin James is going to win this fight and make it a striking match and land some big shots and potentially get a stoppage. Then this is where I made my switch. So I had Volkov originally, and I told you the first reason why I pulled back a little bit on it. But the second reason is the more I thought about this fight is, listen, I think Volkov can win a striking match here. I think he's got the length to negate Gane's in and out karate style. I'm also not quite 100% sold on Gane just yet. I think the guy is an amazing athlete. I think he can be a world champion. I just think it's very tough at heavyweight to have a style where your hands are low and you're in and out, and all of a sudden, it works against guys who are stationary, like we saw in his recent fights. But now you got a guy who's 6'7", and that you're in and outs. When you go out, you better be pretty far away because you're gonna get tagged. So, I like Volkov in the fight, but one thing I'll say, the X factor in the back of my mind is that I think Gane is athletic enough that if he's been working on his wrestling, he had some nice takedowns in his last fight. Not typical heavyweight drag him down type things. Like he shot a single, switched to a double. I think if he's working on his wrestling, which I'm sure he is, he's athletic enough to be a very, very good wrestler in that division. So I pulled away from Volkov and I went with the Hawaiian Medeiros. I think this is going to be an action-packed fight. I personally think Medeiros has a slight edge in winning this. So I'm thinking that no matter what, there's going to be a bunch of points. And I think if Medeiros wins, that's going to be a huge score for him, especially at the value of $7,700. Oh, by the way, I think I also have $800 left over here. So I'm trying to be pretty strategic about my picks and not just spend money to spend it. So Medeiros hoping for an action-packed fight and hoping he pulls out the win there. Moicano, Angelo, you talked about it already. Heavy favorite. I think and I hope he's going to go in and get a takedown. His opponent, Herbert, is a very good striker, but he's also very lanky and tall. So if Moicano can get inside, get a body lock on the ground, Moicano is a special fighter. So I think if he gets it to the ground, he's going to get a sub. So I spent the 9,400 there. Then in Chekwu versus Marquez, we talked about this at length as well. Marquez has burnt me in the past. I just am personally not thoroughly impressed with his striking. I think Nchekwu is definitely the much better striker. But even his wrestling, which he made look easy last fight, I just don't think it's going to be good enough to get Nchekwu down. So hopefully Nchekwu's got the right game plan, based his training camp around defending takedowns and making space to make this a striking match. If that's the case, he should cruise to a win here and potentially get a stoppage. Next up, I got Rakhmonov. Angela talked about it. This guy is very good. He's undefeated. He's got a bunch of ways to win. He actually may be the heaviest favorite on the card. So I spent the 9,100 there. I think he's got a lot of ways to win this fight, and I think he should get a finish. And then last, I got a bit of a, I don't want to call it a coin flip, but the way they're going to fight is going to look like it's a coin flip agreement between the two, I think. Both these guys are going to trade leather. Ike Villanueva will take one to give one. He hits hard. And I think he just hits harder and is going to land the bigger shot before Prachniow does. So I took him at a great value, $7,200, at which I think will be a slugfest. And I'm thinking Ike Villanueva is going to put him away in the first or second with a big shot. So that's my lineup. A lot of potential stoppages here. A lot of action-packed fights. I feel really good about it, and I'm coming back this week. All right, coming back.
Yeah, I mean it's a really interesting card because there's a lot of live underdogs. So you have $800 left in your lineup. A lot of you are going to have money left over. If you're happy with your lineup and you have 6 people who you think will win and win spectacularly, keep those 6 people. Don't worry about the money. The money doesn't matter. It's all about getting the wins, chasing stoppages. So you want at least 5 wins and you want as many stoppages as you can get. My big thing is I love.
And in the losses, the underdog losses, you want action-packed fights like the Medeiros fight, right? Like he could lose that fight, but he should score.
I'm high on St. Preux. I put a bet on St. Preux. There's no way he goes in my lineup. There's not enough volume. He doesn't do enough. He's not going to score any points, but I think he'll win the fight and win me some money. So either way, let us know your favorite lineup. Let us know your picks below. And make sure you join our free DraftKings league. If you're a subscriber and you win the free league, we send you money. If you're a member, we send you twice as much money. There's the little QR code in the corner. Check that out or go right to the description, and we will see you on Saturday.